Money tells me that it's cool to be a cat, cool for cat.
See if cataphrenic really works. Yes. Thanks for that information.
All right. You've had your laugh, Catwoman.
Leo, did you get the books?
Yes, Captain. I had to go all the way down to the main library, but I got every one of them.
I am not at your beck and call. I am not your plaything. I am not your whipping boy. Hope someone takes you sailing, but I wouldn't bet on it. Sounds like a fucking nightmare. I'm sure you have a boat to catch. I'm sure there'll be boats lining up any minute now. Bon voyage. Bon voyage to Hollyland, where everything is wonderful, especially Holly, of course. Good day, Governor. Care for a spot of tea? Maybe you're trying to come clean with yourself, channeling your narcissism and control fantasies through cult leadership dreams, masquerading as a healer. I bet you'd love the opportunity to actually kill people and eat them. Let's go, you demon. You insane person. Let's go to war. I want war. I actually like it. Come on, let's go. Cancel me, demon. Fuck you, demon. Blocking you now, demon. Go back down to hell. Suckle on Satan's tit. Shoo. Shoo, black cat. Go to litter box. Eat shit. We're both just broken people who make mistakes. I appreciate what you said. It seems like we're both suffering. Your voice sounds like an old witch casting a spell. It disgusts me. You disgust me. I hate you. I hate you, you life destroyer. You're an evil person and not just for stealing a man. I wish I had never met you.
Undercover but embarrassed. Oh, bare-assed and bolder. Oh, bare-assed and shoulder. Oh, bare-assed a pair of shoes. One's not indebted to another.
Hello, welcome to Manic in Miami. This is Holly Hurricane. I am recovering from the flu, and today was the first day I could speak again. So I'm speaking. I got my Spotify for Podcasters year-end roundup thing, and according to the analytics, which I had not looked at in a while, the most popular episodes by far are the ones where I'm just like talking about myself. So that's why I wanted to do this. I'm also adding these two spoken word to music things I made recently, and I'll make a couple of allusions to them and then introduce them. I don't know if this is possible, but there are things that make me hypomanic. Sometimes it's nice weather or it's an exciting thing coming up. And I've been looking into like what Tamiflu and Theraflu can induce mania in bipolar patients, I guess. And today I'm really hypomanic, and I wonder if it's because I'm feeling better. It could be the flu meds. It could have been the nice weather today, and maybe it's Art Basel coming up here in Miami. I just figured I would just roll with the hypomania until I get fatigued again tonight and kind of pass out. So yeah, I apologize if my voice sounds like an old witch casting a spell, which I I was accused of, and that's in one of the spoken word things, which is direct messages. These are all taken from real Instagram direct messages mostly, and then a couple of weird phone calls in the middle of the night. So it's an interesting trajectory between sexual objectification and pure hatred. In the past year, I went crazy a couple times. I went back to the psych ward, I guess technically twice, really for real once. I did not find love again, but I did have sex with someone who now hates me. But shout out to Eric Clapton. Please don't file a restraining order against me. Yeah. So the other spoken word thing, first is direct messages. That's kind of short. The other one's more storytelling kind of style. And it's this psychedelic retreat in Transylvania run by a goddess dominatrix vampire. It's for masochists. And it's not my personal fantasy, although becoming a psychedelic practitioner was something I thought about, as well as becoming a dominatrix. So maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty wild. These are both going to be at the end of this little spiel. So I'm not a narcissist and I do not have control fantasies. I did get really hypomanic on Instagram stories, came up with my whole plan for a cult, but it was always kind of an imaginary thing. It was always tongue in cheek. It was never going to be brought into reality. I mean, it got a little real around 3 a.m., but I was never really going to do it. And so the person who accused me of, having these cult leadership fantasies, that's pretty rich coming from him, because he was the first person to respond to my poll on Instagram saying that he would join the hypothetical cult. He kind of took it seriously. I use a lot of irony, layered irony, I guess, and so maybe just stick to one form of irony, because sometimes I think I confuse people with my bullshit. Yeah, and speaking of crazy, I've been medication compliant and all of that stuff. Just a little hypomania, a little depression. But sometimes I think my depression, not depression, but I think I'm about to get depressed, but really it's just like my self-punishment, my emotional masochism kicking in. Go back on it and say, no, let's, everything's great, la, 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 you're awesome. And then either I fuck it up again or the person's all over the place. And so I've kind of been alone way too long for me, for my taste at this point. My ex-boyfriend took me to a Thanksgiving lunch, and then I had Thanksgiving dinner. He's French. I just get really frustrated by shit in general. Delusions. Yeah, I get a little delusional as well. Haven't been technically psychotic in a long time. I guess that's the medication, but maybe I have. It's more, the delusion stuff. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to continue doing it though and just make weird stuff. I have a lot of music from friends who made this music. The music I'm using in the 2 that I'm adding here, the same guy did the music. It's awesome. And I have a local musician, Lone Wolf, who sent me some instrumental stuff that I'm going to use. So I'm going to continue making these. I put them on SoundCloud, but like most people that really cared enough to listen to them from my Dropbox link. But if you look up Holly Villanelli on SoundCloud, they're there. Villanelli, Italian. Close to my real last name, but not quite. A play on Villanelle from Killing Eve, who was like my idol. But I'm not a psychopath, all right? I don't know. I'm just kind of blah, blah, blahing. So, yeah, I really just wanted to say thank you for listening, first of all. And second of all, introduce the spoken word stuff. So here it is. Thanks, everybody. And I'm feeling optimistic to go into my birthday month and the last month of the year. My birthday's on Christmas fucking Eve. That's why my name is Holly. And I was born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm not going to stop being crazy, and I like it. I'm I'm not apologizing for it anymore either. So fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. No, all of you guys are cool. I'm just saying that to the people who are like, you're weird. You're fucking kooky. You're a head case. You're insane. So what? So fucking what? Bye bye. Old witch casting a spell. Sign 7. I am not at your beck and call. I am not your plaything. I am not your whipping boy. Hope someone takes you sailing, but I wouldn't bet on it. Sounds like a fucking nightmare. I'm sure you have a boat to catch. I'm sure there'll be boats lining up any minute now. Bon voyage. Bon voyage to Hollyland, where everything is wonderful, especially Holly, of course. Good day, governor. Care for a spot of tea? Maybe you're trying to come clean with yourself, channeling your narcissism and control fantasies through cult leadership dreams, masquerading as a healer. I bet you'd love the opportunity to actually kill people and eat them. Let's go, you demon. You insane person. Let's go to war. I want war. I actually like it. Come on, let's go. Cancel me, demon. Fuck you, demon. Blocking you now, demon. Go back down to hell. Suckle on Satan's tit. Shoo. Shoo, black cat. Go to litter box. Eat shit. We're both just broken people who make mistakes. I appreciate what you said. It seems like we're both suffering. Your voice sounds like an old witch casting a spell. It disgusts me. You disgust me. I hate you. I hate you, you life destroyer. You're an evil person and not just for stealing a man. I wish I had never met you.
Undercover but embarrassed. Oh, bare-assed and bolder. Oh, bare-assed shoulder. Oh, bare-assed a pair of shoes. One's not indebted to another.
Hello. Welcome to Satan's Goddess Transyldelic Retreat. I'm known as Goddess Ivy, and I'm a twisted and perverted vampire. The dark side of the moon I know as my rightful province. I am created in the image of cruelty. I am no common vampire. My life's tapestry covers more than 100 times what you could hope to experience. Having dwelled in exotic lands in the material world and far beyond for hundreds of years, I am now the wise enchantress who leads our guests to the darkest corners of our mental landscape in altered states of consciousness through that expansive universe. The intensity of my method of psychedelic sadomasochistic immersion could be compared to being strapped in bondage to a dying star. I am the divine superior at all times. The retreat is built around this Gothic relic here in the ruins of a long-forgotten church where God crumbled. The spirits of my demonic ancestors rose in its place. This retreat is the last refuge for demons, vampires, and witches against the forces of science science, and against wrongful human fear. I have the power of attraction and absolute authority. So it was under my command that we joined the psychedelic renaissance. We were able to lead our first group of guests to a state of satanic enlightenment. It's usually the guest's first and false impression that my world is a stage, and they gather on this craggy ground like masochistic little devotees. They soon discover that this is no act. I'm here to annihilate their souls. This kind of exquisite fantasy of mine, this fantastic intersection of the symbolic and imaginary ideals. The rage that has been simmering within me for decades will one day free itself from this wretched fleshy bondage with volcanic explosivity so powerful its shock waves will annihilate us all. There exists within us hells populated by demonic entities of our own creation. They will appear in this eruption as visionary manifestations, mirrored back at us in that final, fiery, brilliant glow. Our last moments, and only blackness follows. I usually give that example to convey the absolute power that I have here. So the devil fell to earth as a bat-winged angel of darkness. And bats are mad creatures, hence their linguistic association with madness. Batty, batshit crazy, I'm severely mentally ill, so be warned. Black cats, bats, and reptiles are found on the property, and they're considered sacred beings. If one chooses to bite a guest, then the guest is required to remain calm, and here we trample irredeemable souls and guide them toward this satanic enlightened state of oneness, following the eradication of the easily shattered ego of the masochists who come here. We also have a set of rules, just a few of them. I like to say I will be totally normal, except more like an android in an oil painting. No psychotropic prescribed medications, and they must address me as divine superior or goddess. Do not speak unless spoken to directly. All of our guests sign contracts and waivers in their blood. Many don't bother to read them, plebeians. And then there's nothing they can do after that, I'm afraid. I abolished the consumption of non-human animals and their blood, so I do require at least one element of blood play in each ceremony. I need to eat. I always reassure guests and say the connection of blood is so powerful that we are bonded forever. There's a foundational text. It is called The Superiority of the Female Sex by Cornelius Agrippa. He was a great alchemist who invoked Satan himself in the early 16th century. So we integrate the psychedelic mystical journey with sadomasochistic practices. We have corporal punishment into the fifth dimension, a psychedelic style verbal humiliation, cosmic bondage, hallucinatory fantasies of special interest, and my favorite, which is called the knife of life. Now, a little on the connection between sadomasochism and psychedelics. Psychedelics have received a lot of bad press. The efficacy and safety of the medicine itself and the operation of retreats. Of course, sadomasochism has always been taboo. It's actually been included in diagnostic criteria for mental illness. That personally offends me because as someone who lives with severe mental illness, it's been a healing mechanism for me. It's viewed as a dangerous activity existing in a community of dangerous outsiders. We combine the practices and outcomes. The result is nothing if not exceedingly beneficial to every individual who makes the pilgrimage here to Romania. Both the psychedelic, mystical journey and sadomasochism share aspects of spiritual ritual. So there's worship, prayer, sacrifice, faith, and just generally embracing this greater destiny. Retribution for past behavior and overall guilt draws people to psychedelic retreats, and for masochists, that is often a component. The process is intertwined and endured by guests for the glory of Satan's goddess. A key difference is that at psychedelic retreats, they promote this practice of individual intention setting before their psychedelic journey begins. They have guides and trip sitters to kind of nurture, protect. They want an ascension into this white, glowing ego dissolution. All love. Here, it's the inverse. There are no individual intentions set. I am not here to become this sideline spiritual cheerleader. I'm the dominant. I set the intention. I'm all powerful in this whole process. The guests who come here crave that absolute leadership and control over their mystical experiences. And when their ego is destroyed, it descends into blackness, the satanic enlightenment process. Guests experience this symbolic death and paradoxically kind of a defiance of this nothingness and this blackness. There's this atemporal union. It's in perfect primordial symmetry. It's a collective dark consciousness, an individual invocation of pain and pleasure. It's this blurred distinction between love and anguish and ecstasy and agony, after all, that summons people to this Romanian torture chamber. Shamanic healing uses the power of a patient's faith in the healer and the healing process. The moments of sacredness encompass this dissolution of borders between our physical world and the realm of demons. The entry into these altered states of consciousness gives a person intimate contact with this demonic spiritual realm and reinforces a shared worldview, which alleviates mental and psychological suffering on the individual basis through the infliction of physical pain and horror. The guests, I like to think of them as quivering worms and not people. I try to maximize the suffering. Sadomasochism is a transformative process as well, and it leads to greater self-awareness and healing through this suffering and psychodramatic sexual play. It's erotic psychotherapy, really, combined with psychedelic sexual exploration. I also think of it as a bloody, cursed miracle. If we consider guilt as a variant of anxiety, kind of a reaction under the guise of punishment for real or imagined fault, this burning medicine I pour like molten gold down our guests' throats, and it conjures the total sum of the aching guilt they've harbored in their decrepit bodily form throughout their lifetimes. And into this mystic hellfire we go. We lack the practical reasoning and understanding of reality to concretely label any delusions as false. So, mystical delusions in the same sense blur the distinction between imagination and our perception of reality. It's at the limit of the body and the psyche and its breakdown where this desire to suffer gains momentum and thrusts the masochists further down the path of their psychedelic journey. And on this path, they are free from hate and free from this destroying urge to mobilize against the other who humiliated them. Hate tempts us because through it we feel our own existence. When we're free from the prison of hatred and this desire for retaliation, the journey to this mystical humiliation and punishment that our guests desire and very much deserve is underway. Inferiority could be a mystical delusion, but never to a masochist. To surrender control in the presence of divine superior is a spiritual ecstasy for the masochist. And during the psychedelic journey, our guests encounter threatening, harrowing entities. They materialize and torment, and they also teach. They torment with the fundamental truth that as the pitiful, guilt-ridden worms that they are wholly unworthy of me as superior. And they teach that it is only through this fundamental truth that they can find satisfaction. And it's only through the presence of the divine superior, Satan's goddess, that these demons can be summoned and brought to life to dance before their eyes like satanic flames. So I bring suffering into existence for all of our guests here. They experience the suspension of ordinary consciousness and surrender to these altered mental states. mystical union between the superior and inferior, compared to the Roman Catholic ascetic flagellation as religious experience. And here, our goal is to reach this satanic enlightenment. Our final and ultimate Transyldelic altered state of consciousness is known as the Cannibal Society. The sadomasochistic, psychedelic, heroic dose is this desire to be feasted upon, quite literally, by a feminine vampire deity, and to face death and surrender all power and ego. The masochist desires a cannibalistic experience. Usually me and a couple of others will literally begin to devour and eat the flesh of the masochist who gets to this level. It's the ultimate retribution for them for these perceived past wrongdoings. In this state, they can find relief from years of self-punishment and self-torment, and it's the greatest gift to be possessed by this powerful external entity who kind of removes that burden of failure. They no longer suffer within themselves because they're taken out of it. The other is killing them and having them suffer. No one actually dies, and they come out of this psychedelic masochistic journey feeling more alive than ever, carefully bitten and pierced while they're in this altered state. Here, we do not address moral problems, nor do we seek to solve them. We have no code of ethics. Good and evil, those things are defined within the parameters of a vile society that denounces me as a vampire. Our so-called deviations can just lead us to a greater understanding of our purpose and meaning in a world that is devoid of meaning, which has really no purpose at all. So we do find this connection to the underworld. I call it the state of perverted consciousness. A pride or a real admiration for our vices without the hedonistic chaos that's expected of us by our enemies in the outside world. The beauty of this dark mystic's journey through the realm of vampires and demons lies within each deplorable little guest, really. Here you will be saved, and you will save me as well. Look forward to eating you, hopefully sometime in the future. Bye.
Body tells me that it's come to be a cat, call for cat.
See if cataphrenic really works. Yes. Thanks for that information.
All right. You've had your laugh, Catwoman.
Leo, did you get the books?
Yes, Captain. I had to go all the way down to the main library, but I got every one of them.